Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Excellency Light League. I just want to update all of you, and of course, hopefully most of you know, but the Blobbies have bugged out here on League, and so we had to take some time to get that one all situated. So we're back. Merciless versus Divine Ascension Obsidian, approaching the second and final game of this first set here. If you're just kind of getting into it, Divine Ascension Obsidian took a slow but just absolutely bleeding win as they took it 16-3 here against Merciless. I'm play-by-play Gaster Zephyr, joined by Hawk as my color.
Yeah, slow bleeding win it was indeed in game number one. Divine Ascension looking pretty good as they rolled to a win. A Merciless fanning out the Darius that sort of ran them over in that one, deeming it to be a problem, and Divine Ascension saying, all right, we will just run it back, getting rid of the Hecarim. Yeah, as we just jump right into these picks and bans, I thought it was honestly a pretty close game, all things considered. But when it came down to those small moments of execution, Divine Ascension just happened to come out on top with clean, calculated play.
Right. And now as we approach draft, seeing some of those bans even out a little bit similarly to game one. Divine Ascension Obsidian, they're running the same route. Camille, Hecarim, they know what works for them. Merciless, on the other hand, a little bit scared of saturation, it seems.
Yeah, a little bit scared of saturation. I mean, the Darius was so good. The Stridebreaker apprehensions were just so powerful, getting multi-man pools, setting up so much for his team and really leading the charge in a lot of the plays. And not to mention giving Goldfam the business up there in the top lane on that Shen. So definitely a problem, as we also see blue side Seraphine banned out on the red side by them last game. So Merciless clearly not wanting to play against that pick. And then the obligatory red side Udyr ban, even after the nerfs, it is so frustrating to play against. The amount of early game jungle pressure it can put out is absurd, as Merciless looking towards their first pick. Wonder what it'll be. Last game, we saw the Sivir. I would not be surprised to see an AD carry come out again. Perhaps the likes of Kai'Sa, Senna. I'm not sure if Necrox plays that one, but it will be a Gragas, actually.
Gragas isn't banned out this time around, so it definitely slips through the draft. Finds its way here onto Merciless. I'm curious whether they'll route that into the hands of Saturation, given that he makes the rotation towards that top side, or into Latin Trap. We've seen it played on that top side pretty consistently here in the Light League and with likes of many other leagues here in Excellency, so it wouldn't be surprising if it eats its way up there. But Divine Ascension Obsidian, they know what works. They're looking for almost a salty. No. See if they can do it better.
Stealing away the Alistar as well, and Sivir Alistar is scary. You get that cow running at you at Mach 5. Can definitely be a threat, but I really like this Gragas first pick actually from Merciless. It can be a triple flex. French could take it in the jungle. Dark Dragon could take it support. Likely going to be in Goldfan's hands on the top side, but it's extremely blind pickable in the top lane. Does well into most matchups. It has good sustain, has good damage. Fits on a lot of compositions, and there is that Senna that I talked about. Decent answer to the Sivir, outranges it at all points in the game, and although it loses a lot of lane pressure against it, it scales up just as well, if not even better, at least better in its utility, and can do so much work. Of course, Ginsu's passive interaction with the Senna is nerfed, but still extremely strong, and a Tahm Kench to keep him safe on the bottom side.
Right, so lots of sustain to run through there on the bot lane. I'm curious if they can even make it to that point in the game. Last time we saw the route really run through here for Divine Ascension pretty early on. So getting to the late game scaling potential for, Senna, it's going to be a tough one for Merciless. They showed us that they don't really have the forefrontal move to make sure that one really lasts to get it to that point. So big point of contention, I would say, as we make a way into this game. But as you oohed and awed, the Mr. Crab himself, Urgot, is going to be routing towards the top here into the hands of Saturation.
Yeah, and as we see the second Juggernaut now for Saturation, it makes so much sense why the side of Divine Ascension is favoring the Sivir so much. Not only is it a massive comfort pick for Lexar, but it does so well with these Juggernauts, help speed them up, get them into the fight. And again, we're already seeing the workings of another Death Ball style composition, whereas Merciless going for another very heavy disengage comp. Gragas, Senna, Tahm Kench, extremely defensive, as we see Yasuo Vel'Koz getting respect banded out from both teams, probably towards the mid side, but it will be interesting. I don't know how Gragas into Urgot would do on the top side. I would imagine it's not particularly pleasant for the fat man up there, So it will be interesting to see if it is flexed out of that lane, but I can't imagine it's also too terrible. You can farm at range with the barrels. You have sustain, so it's not likely
Not the
awful. But with that being
worst.
said, I don't play top lane, so maybe it's awful. I don't know.
Do you even play League, Hawk?
I
I
dabble in
like
the
how you
jungle.
just laugh. There's not an immediate response. Do you even play League? Don't we all?
I'm better at talking about it than I am but playing it. Let's just say that.
That's fair. I'll give you that one. Either way, Divine Ascension back on it again. Aatrox also making a return to the ban phase. This time around, Corki no longer going to be in the hands of Void there, as well as his most prized possession, Vel'Koz, to kind of eke out some of the AP that is necessary for him. So interested to see what he plays through on that one. You still have picks like Orianna, Syndra that can make up for the lack of severe magic damage on this team.
Yeah, definitely makes up for that indeed. And Aatrox getting banned out by Divine signals to me that they think this Gragas is either going jungle or support. Aatrox exclusively played in the top lane, as we all know. So they seem to think that Goldfan not going to pick that one up. They're going to flex their Gragas out of that lane. Of course, flex will be revealed on this rotation. Pantheon is still flexible.
Is it?
Poppy, so it will be Gragas jungle.
No. Who knows? I still say Poppy Jungle is the beauty of the world that everyone should enjoy sometimes.
Beauty of the world. I mean, Poppy Jungle can be very good. I would just expect it to go to the top side because it does well into the Urgot matchup. If he ever tries to get that flip over the back, you can interrupt it easily, trade back relatively well, and you get also the movement speed to get out of any slows and out of that death zone, if you will. As Orianna going to round out the composition. Interesting pick here for Merciless. Little bit low damage, I feel like, on their side. If this Gragas decides to go tank, Senna Ori definitely have a lot of damage in their own right, but not necessarily the hyper damage scaling carries that you might expect. And so it will be interesting to see if they're able to punch through the likes of Alistar, Urgot, and Trundle. Another very beefy frontline for Divine Ascension, having the two Juggernauts and instead trading out the Karma for just a straight up frontliner. And they also want the Cassio.
So this time around, Amith getting a little taste of his medicine, Dark Dragon getting a little taste of his medicine. So much on the board here that they're going to try to just loop it around and say, you know what? You guys play well, but we, Divine Ascension, we're on a different tier. And we'll have to see if that does come to fruition. There's a lot of great scaling potential for Divine, though, with this comp.
Yeah, a lot of great scaling potential indeed. I'm actually a little bit afraid for Merciless's composition because just looking across the board, Fasting Senna, while it scales very well, it generates basically zero pressure in the early game whatsoever. Not really a lane that you can play through. Orianna, basically just a scaling, farming mid laner. It can be something that you play around, but it mostly just wants a team fight. And then both Gragas or Poppy in the top lane, they're just going to be a tank. And against this Urgot, going to be extremely hard to take them down in that 2v2. And while, okay, you say, let's just scale for team fights with our Senna Poppy, that's a Sivir and a Cassiopeia on the other side. How much are you really outscaling these guys?
Well, hopefully enough to make sure that Merciless finds a victory here into this second game, especially since they're looking worse for wear. Like I said earlier, I don't know if anyone remembers it, given it was maybe 30 minutes ago, but the team they're competing with directly to make that spot for playoffs happen, Degenerates Reform is also equally one up or one down right now into their first series. So there's still a chance for them to find an EAP or success that may push them forward in that points lead, but it has to happen, especially if Reform finds that victory. So that scaling potential you talk about, that team fight for Merciless, it's not looking as secure, I would say.
Definitely not looking as secure. I don't think there's one major win condition that you can necessarily point through. It will come down to teamfight execution, of course, but Divine Ascension, they've got this another death ball style composition. You press all your buttons and you run at the enemy team to find the fight, and you've just got so much frontline, so much damage, so much sustain. Just like in the last game, it's going to come down to Merciless trying to be creative, trying to find themselves opportunities, and I do think that they did a good job of creating opportunities, or at least forcing Divine Ascension into positions where they could make a mistake, but they fell short on capitalizing on them. So it will be interesting to see if Merciless is able to do that better in this game than they did in game number one to find themselves a more meaningful advantage.
I mean, I agree. And There's a lack of response that comes through from Merciless as well to most of the hard engage from Dow. And while they do have a little bit of leniency in terms of time this time around, I felt like Saturation, of course, got really amped up immediately with the lane advantage. And then suddenly we saw those teleports come through and then the immediate ganks, and then he was pulling through and the engage was just way too strong from this guy. I think Poppy does a little bit better into this matchup comparison wise, but still can be pushed out. Goldfan needs to make sure he keeps the reign on this lane. All that being said, with some of that heavy engage that comes through from Dow, the response from Merciless has been really lackluster. And while they do have a lot of great sustain and some heavy disengage peel in terms of the dislocation that is available to them, it still can be pretty rough when they get absolutely deathballed down, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's interesting too because last game Merciless also had a lot of disengage, but I think it came in the form of a lot of zoning abilities, like Miasma, like Petrifying Gaze, like just Alistar as a champion walking at people. Whereas Merciless's composition this time around, I think while it can buy a lot of time, it doesn't actually respond very well to just simply getting run down. Poppy can block dashes, but it can't block a Trundle just running at her. Gragas has the ultimate to disengage, but that is a ultimate ability. That is a very long cooldown. If you're using that to disengage, that is not available for the subsequent fight. And while Tahm Kench can buy a lot of time for his carry, he can't actually get her out of the fight a lot of the time. So you just wait for the Tahm Kench to spit her back out and then kill her after the fact. So I'm very scared to see how Merciless is able to respond to this one. I really favor Divine Ascension's draft this time around. I think they executed on their composition last time, and honestly, their win condition is even easier to activate this time. It's simply about finding a 5-on-5.
Right, absolutely. And the ease of access for what Merciless has to pull off here to find success in some of these team fights, it takes a lot of great coordination among most members of the team here because, like you said earlier, they don't really have the consistent damage numbers to eke out a successful play just off of one person alone versus something, say, like Void. Once he gets to mid to late game, he will rip through and shred most of your major carries, which can become a massive issue, right? Now, I want to pull back. We've harped on the two team comps as much as possible as I think, but in these lane to lane individual matchups, especially after seeing Saturation last time around, what's your opinion on the stance for Goldfan coming into this on this Poppy?
So I think the Poppy will definitely do a good job of neutralizing the lane. Poppy can interact with waves effectively with her Q, gets the Buckler Shield to negate trades, and then like I mentioned, if Urgot ever wants to commit using that E forward, it's an extremely telegraph spell. You can use the Steadfast Presence and stop that one. But with that being said, Urgot still does more DPS than this champion. I think the Poppy was more of a lane neutralizing pick than it was a lane winning pick. They like Goldfan on the tanks like we saw with the Shen last game. So they're trying to go to something similar, but I'm not entirely sold on the pick. I think it'll do fine in the isolated 1v1, but I'm not sure what impact it'll actually have as we move on through later stages of the game. And then looking across at the other lanes, I do like Amith actually against the Cassiopeia here on the Orianna. Orianna generally favored into Cassiopeia because of basically no casting times, makes it very easy to dodge around the little cues there from Cassiopeia, get out of the Noxious Blasts and not give her that poison. Phase Rush makes it even easier. You can kite around, poke her out with the ball. So that could be one point of power Orianna should have shove on that wave, but bot and top probably going to get pushed in, probably going to be side lane advantage for Divine.
Absolutely. With all that being said, though, it's definitely left up to the two teams to make their impact here into this game. Back up against the wall here, Merciless has to find success. I remind everyone that they only have 3 sets after this left to play in the face of Light League as a whole, and sitting at 11 points here, there is not a lot of room for them. They're right on the cusp. And this is a make or break moment for them, given that they've already found a loss in this first game. So massive prayers to be had. If you're a Merciless fan, you want them to make their way and shine through, especially since playoffs will show this in a very different light. That being said, though, we're going to be going to a short spectator delay as we get everyone wrapped towards the Rift. We'll be right back. Stick around. Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Excellency Esports Light League. If you're just joining us, we're bringing you Divine Ascension Obsidian versus Merciless, second game of our first set here tonight. I will say, Divine Ascension Obsidian hit hard and they hit fast, 16-3, taking a massive victory over Merciless, proving why they deserve to be making their way towards playoffs. Merciless, on the other hand, fighting for success as they make their way and try to get out of the cusp they've landed themselves on. I'm your play-by-play caster, Zephyr, joined by the lovely Hawk as my color.
Merciless is fighting for their lives today to stay alive in the playoff race for the Excellency Light League, as Dark Dragon able to sniff out that invade attempt coming through from the side of Divine Ascension. But we were talking about it just a moment ago. Zephyr looking at these compositions, continuing the conversation we had in draft. Merciless just barely fell short on a few plays last game that led to a cascading victory for Divine Ascension Obsidian. And now, looking at their composition, some would say it's even harder to execute. So with the game on the line, they go Fasting Senna, they go for the Gragas and the Poppy. Let's see if they can make it happen as Jungle Camp's spawning.
Yes, sir. Jungle Camp repeat on this side. They change it up this time around. You've got Latin Trap starting towards that top side. Q-Square's rotation will bring him. But other than that, it's pretty calm on the front here. No major starts from either which side. What was I trying to say? Notably here, when we look at these two comps, Merciless, of course, definitely as you bring it up, backs against the wall, these are their choices, but their choices are a lot harder to pull off.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like on paper, their composition has this crazy amount of disengage and sustain to, really find fights that you want to and extend them for long periods of time. But looking at what they are up against, there's just so much damage and sustain as well on the other side. And, Merciless going to struggle a little bit in the damage department, I feel, moving forward. We talked about it. Orianna Senna, not the highest damage of carries, with level 2s coming through in the bot lane. Looking forward for a trade. Lexar not going to get the spell shield on the tongue lash there, and basically just even trading across the lanes. Unsurprisingly, Trundle getting up to a slightly faster start, does the single target camps faster than the Gragas, but using that to leverage the gank on the bot side.
Good pillar, going to be forcing that flash out. Necrox, and that's going to be the pulverize, immediately pushing back Dark Dragon. Like you said, awesome on the Devour, but those boomerangs definitely punish out here. Latin Trap, amazing on that gank.
Yeah, but we see pings for a attempt on the mid side here. We could see a 2v2, but Cassiopeia Trundle, I'm going to take that any day against the Gragas and the Orianna. He's face checking.
Steps into bush there, going to be caught out, burning down with the poison, but either way, I think he's clear out of that one. The pillar just didn't quite land.
Yeah, pillar not quite landing. At the end of the day, it will be no kills going over, but Latin Trap generating the pressure, getting wave control here for his bot side. We saw the exact same pathing last time almost. He did his 3 camp standard clear on all the single targets, but instead of invading this time around, he walks bot lane and forces the flash off the Sen. And although I want to commend Merciless actually for a fantastic disengage on that side, as we see an attempt on the top side, flashing in.
Big stun. There's French on the other side around, gonna get the knock up in response as the knock through comes through. Saturation taken low, burning out under turret. He goes. French flashes forward, doesn't find the kill, but he does find himself very low off those turret shots.
That is rough. French thought he had the damage with the bonk there, but doesn't quite get it. Saturation walks out, and that's going to be 2 flashes for the price of 1. And although Saturation likely going to be forced to back, as we see heavy trading everywhere. Dark Dragon.
Look at that. Double root to play off of. Nothing to find in terms of those kill, though.
And nothing to find but Trundle hovering on the bottom side. He took away French's Raptor camp as we saw the gank go down on the top side there, not really amounting to more than just a few summoner spells blown. So camp lead being extended here for Latin Trap. Last game we saw it was French who was in the lead with the fast farming Skarner, but this time around, Latin Trap been able to take advantage of, I would say, slightly greedy pathing here from French, using the fast single target clear speed of this Trundle to great effect. And although gank not going to come through on the bottom side, this wave is actually slowly going to stack away, most likely from the side of Merciless, should the bot lane of Divine Ascension allow it to. Could set up for a potential opportunity still on the Flash of Senna. Of course, Dark Dragon having Devour available makes him a difficult target to get, but we saw how potent the gank pressure was at that level 2 mark.
Speaking of gank pressure, French making the rotation down here. Lexar going to be pulling off what is going to be the appropriate spell shield, but not before we get that bump back from Divine X. Good pulverize to keep it coming. Getting the bell off there. Lexar here finally going to get that double root in the back as he's pushed pretty far aggressively under his turret there.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. French got stunned up there by the Alistar before he could pop the Q barrel, so he's not able to get the slow. Divine X able to simply walk out. No flash available, using it in the gank, and here's the counter.
He's going to go back in there. Necrox taken low. Lexar pumping it out. Dark Dragon with the Devour to keep it going, but Latin Trap is just as far forward here. Great sustain off of that one as Necrox is forced to use the heal there.
My, oh my. Zephyr, that is a 5th gank we have seen this game, just 6 minutes in, and there have been no kills. Both junglers without flashes, both top laners without flashes, and support for AD carry not having the flashes available, and both heals gone. It is simply even trading across the map. However, the pressure on the bottom side finally is going to net a meaningful advantage for Divine Ascension, as they're going to be able to take away this Infernal Dragon with the high single target damage that I feel like I keep bringing up of this Trundle. Souls this one away very, very easily and going to get that one. But on the top side, we're also seeing CS lead coming through for Saturation pretty substantially here, up about 15, 16 over his opposite number. Must have found himself a favorable trade, in Goldfan electing to hold on to the teleport to not pick up those 2 waves. And although French hold
that trap into the mid lane here, Amith, mind you, does have that shockwave, and that's a big teleport to use immediately there. Goldfan, I don't think he's going to be finding much there, but at least the pressure keeps them off what is Amith.
Ooh, Amith got the phase rush proc there, walked out. I think he was just going to be fine, and I was just mentioning Goldfan missing 2 waves for that play. He's still level 5. That's so much miss for not really any gain.
They're going to be trying to make something happen out of this one, but it doesn't matter. Like you said, the 2 we've won can come through there. Saturation's in a really great spot. It kind of feels like a deja vu, Hawk.
Yeah, deja vu indeed. If Goldfan just used that teleport to get it back to the top side, he would have been level 6 for that play, and they might have been able to find a kill with the knockup, but instead, it ends up just being Saturation walking out, wasted teleport in the mid lane. Goldfan behind over 20 CS, and that means that there is a gold lead growing ever so slightly for Divine Ascension. Once again, about 250
Lexar
up. Necrox getting low.
Yeah, Necrox taking a heat of punishment time and time again in this lane, and much of that attributed to the massive boomerang poke here. And while he does have the sustain to keep himself alive, Dow is just doing a great job of applying that pressure need be, and even in the face of massive sustain and success with guys like Dark Dragon, you know, does not bode well, I would say.
Yeah, it is worth noting that with all this trading we've seen in the bot side, Necrox has actually got over 500 gold already on his Spectral Sickle. So this guy is getting a lot of stacks on that one, getting a lot of gold for himself. So there is some silver linings for him, and Senna stack count is currently sitting at 33. So Necrox feeling pretty good about where he is, but I saw Freeze actually being set up by the side of Divine Ascension could potentially leverage that. However, flashback up on Necrox means that gank pressure not super substantial, and no dragon to fight for means that both junglers probably going to be looking towards the top side on this Rift Herald, and French getting spotted out. Latin Trap can just do it. There he is, blast coming over. He is on that one. That should go over for free to the side of Divine for, again, no advantage, no response from Merciless. They've simply not been able to find themselves a window.
Wow, and look at this. That is absurd. Taking Goldfan to half health off of one good combo rotation. Saturation is looking better and better as this game continues to go on. If he is enabled in the same way as we saw in game 1 with the consistent teleports or those
pushing away from Goldfan too.
Oh, big flash, just barely misses out. That could have been rough.
Ooh, yeah, could have been rough indeed. That wave was pushing away from Goldfan. Saturation just needed to hold that one and let Goldfan suffer. He would have been so nervous having to push up in that lane, but instead that is flash blown for nothing. Feels bad, man.
French,
but French is face checking.
You're going to run straight into your demise there. He's going to try to get the knockback, throws down the casket, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be the Fear Beyond Death to pull this one through. Now Amith in an even worse position. Going to be running, hurrying to home under turret there, and Dow putting pedal to the metal already here.
Yeah, pedal to the metal indeed. They've simply made better use of the opportunities that were given to them. I feel like I sound like a broken record, but it has simply been the story of the series so far. 700 gold in the lead, 1 Dragon lead in the lead, Rift Herald in hand. Gold fan getting so low, he's probably going
just bullied.
Yeah, man, he picked into this matchup. This was Gold Fan's counter pick into the Urgot, and it has clearly not worked out. Not looking comfortable at all in this one. 25 CS behind, no teleport means that Saturation can push this one up for free. And all French does have level 6, has the tier 2 boots with Predator online, so their main playmaking tool at this point is there. He has flash back up, but you've got to pick your shot. Gragas, I've heard it said he's like a shotgun jungler. You got one really big shot and you got to reload, and that's a 5-minute reload time for this guy. I want to see if he's able to generate any pressure for his team. 20 seconds till the Dragon spawn. Latin Trap going to summon the Herald to gain pressure. Will there be a fight around this one? French is posturing.
Yeah, French definitely a little bit too close for where there. He's going to be backing off. Hopefully, he doesn't want to give up that war. He's going to be poking out as best he can, but Dow in a really nice spot as they continue to assess and pull vision here around the jungle and river, making sure that if someone's coming around, it won't be happening any time soon here. Saturation does not have teleport, nor... Yeah, Lexar. Good spell shield to make sure he gets out of that one. Now Latin Trap stepping up to punish out Necrox and Dark Dragon for stepping up there. He's got the available pillar to pull it back around as French is coming up over the side here, pushing back. Beautiful on the knockback. Now there's the Dawning Shadow pressing for his Void is just too late to the fight. Merciless, great response on that dive.
Yeah, just a little bit of a mad mispositioning, I think, from Dow coming through. They actually used the Herald a wave too early mid, so Merciless was able to regain their footing, and after a good trade on the bot side, Dow tries to collapse, but they get punished. Merciless, very well played. French picking up an assist for his support, and that's the spell shield. That's going to be big. Should still be Dragon going over, but Latin Trap, he has respawned. He's going to be able to position, and I don't actually think Merciless is going to get anything for this other than a kill onto their Kench. So unfortunate there for Merciless. I think they're going to just cede pressure over this one. River wards still in favor of Divine Ascension. There are red wards littering that one, and Lexar getting chunked out again, however.
Now he's going to be able to walk out, but like you said, that's good damage to see. Divine X here going to be rooted out in the face of the Catfish himself. Either way, stunned.
Oh, interrupt the TP.
Nothing crazy. Yep, no TP there for Gold Fan on this time around. As French steps up, going to get the pounding damage onto Lexar, but not before he's knocked up. Beautiful Shockwave, Divine and Latin pulled back. Super duper low. Dow now extremely out of the river. Doesn't matter if you've got the wards on your side. The Dragon is out of your hands.
Well fought by Merciless. They finally buy themselves the Dragon. Unfortunate, if French had the cask, probably would have been a double kill for him. But regardless, they get what they came for. They're going to seal away the objective and tie up the Dragon score of 1-1. And although they are still about almost 1,500 actually down in gold, it is not yet disastrous for them. They're able to fight back effectively. They're able to get the objective that matters.
Absolutely. And didn't expect it to go that way. I know you were posturing around it because you definitely thought with all that control in the river it wasn't going to come through. But hey, one great play, and it shows the combination that is available towards Merciless. We saw the Shockwave play. We saw the stacking extended damage from Necrox. It's that access towards time that really makes this comp shine.
Yeah, definitely the access that makes this comp shine. And that's actually a big interrupt. That's probably going to mean Necrox going to miss away from himself. But I'm really impressed with the way Necrox is piloting the Senna. Of course, he is known for his Kaisa being his best champion. So maybe some question marks around the fact, you know, playing a different champion, not going to that comfort. How is he going to do? Is he going to get pushed in by the Sivir? But Dark Dragon and Necrox have done a good job controlling this lane. And although with the recall getting interrupted, they're going to lose damage and minions to this turret. French is positioning around it. No flash on Lexar, no flash on Divine X means that there could be a counterplay in the cards.
Yeah, French is coming out pretty early here, more so to get control on that wave. Definitely could have waited out and maybe looked for something a bit more aggressive play, but by then I think they would have been long gone in the pressure there, especially since they've got tri-warded.
Yeah, no threat to be had, just a lot of damage on that turret, and that's why you want to interrupt recalls if you can. But Merciless, they're sitting fine, down 2,000 gold. Gold lead actually getting extended by just the farm that was sort of lost during that whole Dragon Dance. Farm lead in the top side getting extended up to 40 now by Saturation. Actually has a farm bounty to his name. And then likewise, French falling pretty far behind. He is down 6 camps to the Trundle. Spent a lot of time looking for plays. And although they did get the Dragon, they did get 1 kill down there. A lot of the plays have not worked out. So perhaps potentially inefficient use of the time and more efficient use, I should say, by the substitute jungler for the side of Dow. Means that there is slight advantage there, and they're going to leverage that to pressure top side. Again, second Herald, they can use this one to break either top or bot, or even mid if they're feeling really spicy. Get that first turret. Even with no plates available, that is still a good injection of gold.
Absolutely. You know, this is when we start talking about the play style of Dow really starting to come out in comparison to that first game. And wow, that's going to be a pretty hard, good pushback there from Goldfan. Good he had to use that one, or else he would have been caught out by the rotation there. But to back up real quick, beautiful accruement of slow gold and objective control here from Down. This is what makes this team one of the best in Light League as it stands currently. It's not their aggressive prowess that gets them super duper far ahead. It's that slow bleed, like we saw in game 1, that really puts them ahead of the rest.
Yeah, definitely. It really just has been the same story as last game. And although Merciless was able to find a decent team fight on the bottom side around that second Dragon, the gold still not going in their favor, as we mentioned. It's just been simply Divine Ascension going for fewer plays, but making those shots that they take count. Meanwhile, Merciless going for a lot, but not really making them all work, meaning that their use of time can be inefficient if those plays don't end up working out. I do want to keep my eye on Necrox in this one, though, however. He is sitting very good on the Senna, has 65 souls online, and has almost fully completed that Spectral Sickle quest,
really
meaning
great.
He might be able to start farming soon. Probably backing for that Kraken Slayer right now, so getting very strong on this Senna. Faster than expected means that he could be becoming that massive late game threat
though
that we expected. But yes, first turret at that being sacrificed here bottom side do get that reset off. So they're prioritizing Dragon Control over the immediate gold. We'll see if that one pays off.
Right, and at this point, there's going to be the rift in the mid to continue assessing pressure across the map there. I don't think that's going to be stopping anytime soon. So another turret into Dow's clutches as they start to set up for what will be the beginning of the Ocean Drake spectrum here on this game.
Yeah, I would have actually liked to see that Rift Herald held on to until the Dragon was going to spawn. That way you can drop it and generate that mid-pressure. You were going to get that turret with the Herald charge anyway, so I actually think that was a little bit of a misplay by the side of Divine Ascension. But regardless, that is still 2 turrets to their back pocket, and now it is a 2,000 gold lead, 4,000 gold lead instead of a 2,000 gold lead. So it is gold into their back pockets, but some of it is unspent. They weren't actually able to reset.
Look at Saturation.
Across the board, but Saturation is split pushing, and the Dragon's not even spawned. This is free time. Amith, you cannot back now that it is coming up. Merciless is actually here so early. Saturation TP coming up. He's got a flank ward way back in Raptors and minions of bot lane. Let's see where he goes with this.
Absolutely. That's going to be that turret he takes out, so he's got full range to make it happen now. Goldfan posturing out here. That shockwave goes only onto Latin Trap, pulling back the Dawning Shadow. Does damage, but it may not be enough. The Petrifying Gaze from Latin Trap in response as he steps forward there. Finally traps down from Necrox as he turns it into a double. Fans 2 forward, goes down as a spot. Necrox now in the back of Saturation, like you said, finally arrived. Void's low, but not low enough. It's going to be all 5 members here of Merciless taken out.
It ends up being the deep teleport from Saturation that makes it count. Merciless, they had found the fight in the choke point. Necrox doing so much. Dawning Shadow going across everybody there, keeping his team alive and getting the damage down. Heals doing so much work, but once they started funneling forward, they felt like they were trapped. It just wasn't enough. The got untouched in the backside, having the Stride Breaker online, able to clean up the kills for his team. And although the Dragon goes the way of Merciless, it is the fight. It is the ace that goes the way of Divine Ascension, and they grow their lead. 6,000 now. It has ballooned just 5 minutes ago from 2,000 to 6,000. It is that one explosive fight that makes the difference, just like game number 1.
Absolutely. And with all that in that fight there, Void could not get taken out in the entirety of it until the very, very end. So while you have all these major carries pressuring forward there, Void is kiting back, pumping it out. He managed to pull 3 of those major kills in the favor there of Dow. So now Cassiopeia super accelerated into the future here, sitting on the double item power spike. And that is a massive play to move around with the Snake now, with a hefty bite to work with.
Yeah, and I almost wonder too if Necrox actually could have picked up the quadra kill. You saw Avci started cutting forward away from the Urgot. Little bit of indecision on his target selection, deciding if he wanted to chase Lexar or flash in on a Void. Ends up deciding to go for the Cassiopeia, and although he picks up the kill, there was a couple of canceled autos there that could have made a world of difference. Regardless, well played team fight from him, simply not enough. And I think this is sort of highlighting some of the issues with Merciless's composition, just, you know, not really having the same amount of DPS and sustain on their front line that Dow has available to them, despite a great setup performance so far from Necrox. Don't quite have it.
Right, absolutely. And I think that fight could have gone a little bit better had we seen a bit more encapsulating control from Umith, especially with what was my apologies, Shockwave, only finding really Latin Trap there. So while it was a great pick to be had, it definitely had more potential, especially playing off something like that that has such a big impact on a team fight to team fight basis. So interested if he can make that one work for himself if we look towards maybe future team fights here for Merciless.
Yeah, actually a really good point that you bring up, Zephyr, that I want to expand upon a little bit further. When you are on this Orianna, you need to sort of think critically about how your team wants a team fight and how the enemy team wants a team fight. Are you running to play for picks? Are you running to be a major damage threat? And I think in this game, Umith needs to be that major damage threat. And so, yeah, getting shockwaves on individual members, even though it creates a good pick, that's a major cooldown burned, as we do see Baron getting started up by the side of Dow. Blue Ward sniffed out, going to heal off. Yeah, that was a bold attempt. I like it, though. It forces Merciless to respond. If you catch him sleeping, that is a free Baron to you. We saw how much damage they did, so I do like that attempt. Basically nothing burned, and it sort of forces Merciless to stay on their toes.
At the same time, though, I will say it is the 4-man versus 4-man, and Goldfan has a teleport, and Void can come through as well, but in terms of an initial fight breaking out, I think Merciless has the favor there, having both of their carries ready and primed to go into that 4v4 fight versus, you know, Void not being available.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely not one that they would have wanted to take, but regardless, you know, a decent attempt, but we will see lane stage just even out, and you know, both teams just going to farm up. Dragon spawning 45 seconds. I would expect to see resets coming through from both sides, refresh their wards, spend all of their gold, and I think this will be the fight to end all fights. 5,000 gold in the lead for Dow as a recall gets interrupted from Necrox. He's going to be a little bit late to the setup now. That is huge. Just recalling too greedily. You got to back off for that.
At the same time, Divine X is already in position to get the vision control in the favor of Dow. Easily 30-40 seconds beforehand, as we saw all those resets come through from Merciless. So they're already in massive potential favor and putting the pressure on French already. Whoa. Wow, that's going to be the trash coming through with Necrox. I mean, in fairness, it was a late back, so I can see the usage there.
Yeah, just bold positioning there. Could have gotten caught out. I feel like Dow almost could have gone for that should they have wanted to, but not wanting to find a 5 years fight.
Immediately there into the back as French is ripped through because of it. Void in the back line, going to be shockwaved out, but it's not going to prevent this too much further. That's going to be the Fear Beyond Death, finding its way onto Necrox. Now Goldfan looking worse for as the double, triple flashes all come out here. Saturation now over the wall, him as well to pressure Merciless even further back. All that being said, 2 kills and what will be the dragon here for Dow.
Another one fight for Divine Ascension Obsidian. They manage to find the man with all the gold. They find the center and they take him down as a myth. Actually, Saturation going for it, but there's a Tom Kench behind.
Good devour.
But as soon as you take down that center, there's simply no more fight to be had from Merciless. They get forced out of their own jungle, and despite a good keeper's verdict from Goldfan to get rid of the AD carry in the 4v5, Divine Ascension simply doesn't care. They just run them down. They get the objective, they get the kills, and now they have the Baron set up. and resets being forced out here from the side of Merciless, actually being canceled to check the Baron. They feared it getting rushed down, and that's what threatening Baron early on can do to a team. Delay the resets, make them always wonder, make them afraid.
Give them a little bit of a question.
Yeah.
Maybe not 20, but at least one.
I like that. I like that one.
Good. I hope my jokes land with someone at least. If it's just you, Hawk, then that's enough for me. And yeah, they are starting Baron, and I'll tell you right now, Merciless are definitely nowhere close to as prepared for this one. This is going to go down without even a thought.
No blue trinket. Necrox has a sweeper, so it is only the blue trinket on a myth, so this is going to go down uncontested.
Oh
they are just pushed up mid. They're just now going to walk in, but it's already dead.
Sorry, too late. There's going to be the massive pull there. Divine X a little too far forward. There's going to be that Unbreakable Will finally coming out. Necrox and the rest of Merciless trying to collapse this one. That Divine Shadow getting a bit of the shit, but like you said, in the back line, there he coming through is now Goldfan looking worse for wear as Lexar picks that one up. Divine X coming through forward as they get the kills. Necrox as well. All 5 members down here for Merciless.
Wow, Merciless get taken down in the river. It almost looked like a decent fight. Like they at least might have been able to clean up 1 or 2 kills before the Cassiopeia arrived and try to kite away. But the Alistar with the Unbreakable Will, the Urgot with the Strikebreaker and Titanic Hydra, they're just too tanky. They don't have the damage. Again, going back to that point about DPS that we had in draft, it simply wasn't there. It is Baron for Divine Ascension. It's going to be an inhibitor. It might even be 2. Still 10 seconds on the respawns. They are looking to break this game open and finish it even faster than the last one.
Absolutely. They've got 4 minutes to beat on the clock if they want to make that happen, but I think the reset's going to occur here, especially since a lot of their major windows are no longer available. Land Trap, like you said, knocked up, slowed down here. French and Necrox trying to position out, but the rest of the team sees 2 top, and they're going to make something happen. Bot lane instead, Goldfan looking low, taken out by Void as the rest of Merciless are on the goose chase. Not good for them as they're going to lose another inhib for this negligence.
Yeah, and they might even be able to, and maybe not, they're just going to take the reset. Smart move. They want to spend their gold. I'm sure they have a lot in their pockets. They get 2 inhibitors and they open up the 3rd one. So Merciless going to be forced to fight for that 3rd inhib, but it's almost certainly not going to be a good one with the turret no longer being available. And they didn't even get the pick on to Latin Trap. That was the body slam flash blown by French, and he didn't have the explosive cast to knock him back. There was no damage follow-up. Necrox not able to get in range, so he just walks away from it. Just another big tool being blown. 13,000 gold in the lead. We've almost got 500 gold per minute here, the lead being extended by Divine Ascension. That is a substantial lead, nigh insurmountable.
It's massive.
Yeah, it would take a tremendous misplay for the side of Divine to lose this one at this point. Baron buff still on. They can just walk down top lane, try to take that inhib, and French getting caught out again.
Oh, Baron buff's going to be on for a while here. That happened pretty much instantly right off the taking, so it's going to be into the next push as well. Saturation the 3rd, putting the pressure on the bot side and forcing 4 members towards that response there. And Necrox going for that chase, pushing himself further out. They're going to miss out on this inhib defense because of it.
Yeah, this is going to be trip inhib for Divine. He forces the full team to respond to that play with the Tom Ketchel coming through. The inhib is gone. They're going to have 3 Baron buff wave to supers. They want to end the game.
Now Latin Trap going in there, knocked away Keeper's Verdict, getting rid of Saturation, but the rest of the team burning down. Beautiful shockwave onto Lexar there, but he still isn't taken out. Now Saturation 3rd launching forward there, pressuring them away from their Nexus turrets. Down a 1 goes. The second as Lexar comes back, Divine X deep into the backline, pushing French into the fight there, taken low. He might be punished out, but it doesn't matter. You've got Lexar on the side, just throwing the inhib into its breaking point. Dow taking the 2nd game, the set as a whole, 3 points into their favor.
3 points in
to slip as far as it did in that first game. And I honestly think the comp was much easier, Paul. So Divine Ascension really making a statement for themselves on this one.
Yeah, making a statement indeed. And I think a very important subtext of that statement is the fact that saturation up here in the top side, role swapping out of the jungle, absolutely dominating. And if there was an MVP for this series, it's definitely going to be him. And I'm going to be trying to get him in here for an interview.
Sure. Absolutely. We'll look to get saturation on an interview as quick as we can. One thing I do want to note, just as a whole here, this matchup, this first set here of week 6, Merciless is officially out of playoffs after holding that 6th slot here for the last 6 weeks with the victory here from Degenerates Reformed over Shadowblade Slash in their second game of the first set. Merciless has officially been removed from playoff contention, and now they have to compete and fight their way back in.
Yeah, unfortunately,
that's gotta feel bad.
Yeah, it has to. I mean, just unfortunately wasn't in the cards for them today. I think just a few misplays that could have gone their way, or a few more, just execution.
They still have 3 sets.
They do still have 3 sets, but unfortunately just was not quite there for them. I think it was a solid series from them. I think they showed a lot of good plays, just didn't quite have it when it mattered most. And I think that's not to take away credit from Divine Ascension, who played an incredible series. They were a formidable opponent. Merciless put up their best effort, just simply was not quite there.